Hello, it's Jeannie. How are you? I hope you are well. Today's video is not an ASMR video. It is the interview with my mom. And I'm so grateful for you all sending in your questions. And it was fun, asking these questions of her and some of the answers she came up with. And so I think you're going to enjoy this. I really appreciate these questions. And this will be a great historical document to show all the kids. So all my kids and grandkids. And so anyway, let's go ahead and get started interviewing my mom. So, this is my mother. What is your first name?
Donna.
Donna. And where were you born?
San Mateo, California.
In what year?
1938.
And you remember that day?
Of course, vividly.
Okay. And so to remind the viewers, we have a whole bunch of questions that they sent in on questions they would want to ask you. And so, what do your grandkids call you?
Most of them call me Grandma, and then the great-grandchildren, one in particular, calls me Gigi.
Gigi. Yeah, Gigi, which stands for great-grandma. So, yeah, all the other kids call you Grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to ask some questions here and see what kinds of answers. I wrote them all down. Thank you all for sending those to me. All right. What was your major in college?
Education.
And what was your work for your job?
Teaching school.
What grades did you teach?
Kindergarten, first grade.
Okay. Did you like it?
I loved it.
Why?
Oh, the little kids are just so real and full of exuberance.
Yeah. Plus you got them like in the very beginning of their,
Yeah.
school years. That's kind of special.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where did you go on your first date with Dad?
We just went for a ride. I can't even remember where, but we spent a couple hours just driving around. It was a school night, so we didn't stay out real late. Plus, I had a curfew.
At your, what was it, your sorority house?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your curfew?
I think it was 10 o'clock, and I was late, and the house mother came to the door, and she had tears in her eyes, because I never broke the rules as a rule, and she was so worried. She thought something happened, and so she was all emotional.
Oh, were you ever late again after that?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. What is something you didn't appreciate until you got older?
The importance of family. I learn more every day how important it is to keep those relationships precious.
Okay. And what is your favorite recipe? We're jumping around here in
I love meatloaf and mashed potatoes and gravy.
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't? Okay. This is one. What would you change back? And what do you think we need in society today from back then? So what would you, I think it means what would you change,
Probably
back?
less technology, because I don't stay abreast of what's...
So we should all be deprived because you don't like it.
Absolutely.
I'll call Elon Musk and tell him no more space shuttle
That's
trips.
right.
Okay. Your favorite smell and favorite food from childhood?
Oh my goodness. I guess it would be maybe the meatloaf.
Did your mom make that?
Yeah,
What about Aunt Lily?
she did too.
Okay. So, my mom's mother died when you were about 13? I think about
yeah.
13. She died of breast cancer, and so she went to go live with her aunt and uncle. So, her mom's sister. And they were the closest, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And what smell brings back a favorite memory?
Barn smells.
Oh, yeah, barn smells.
Yeah.
And what else? You said something else before. The fair.
Well, because at the fair, I would always be out with where the animals were.
Yeah, okay. And what would you call your favorite family trip? And it doesn't say if you were a kid or if it's
Okay.
current. So what would you say was your favorite?
Going to Mendocino. We spent many, many weekends in Mendocino and had a great time camping mostly until the latter years when we got a motel.
Yeah, and so the motel that we would get, the parents got to stay and the kids had to sleep outside on grass around the hotel, right?
You're still alive.
So we'd be out there, and we went up to Mendocino because of abalone season,
Yeah.
which was typically February, wasn't it? It was typically like in the winter.
February, March, April,
Yeah.
right in there.
And it was freezing cold with the fog. And I remember I would wake up like, shaking, and there's fog. Sometimes it rained in the night. Oh well, that's okay. The parents were nice and warm in their beds inside the motel.
We were very abusive parents.
That was so abusive. No, actually, it was fun because we would, all us kids, we went with huge groups of people, and we would be out there talking till all hours of the night. And then, of course, we would start on scary stories.
Oh.
Bigfoot stories,
Yeah.
aliens and UFOs. And then I was too scared to even go to sleep. So the cold was the least of my concerns. It was,
Yeah.
But we had fun out there. Just,
Oh, yeah.
parents weren't there. They were just behind a door. But
That's always fun.
yeah. Okay. What is your favorite piece of jewelry?
I guess my wedding band.
Yeah. Speaking of jewelry, have you seen my precious gems? Let me show you. Have you seen these?
Yes, I did. I saw you doing that little video thing. Such precious
They're so
things.
precious. Look at the one from Mars.
Right.
What do you think about that? Isn't that cool?
You
Look
have
at-
some very precious jewelry.
And they're not plastic. None are plastic. And they have this Martian technology of the split
Yeah.
back. I mean, look at that. Yeah. I got to get those back to the vault. That was so fun. Okay. What would you tell your younger self?
Enjoy the moment. Don't worry about the future. It'll take care of itself.
And this is what we were raised with. That isn't even information that you've learned as an older person. That's how we were raised, So I'm really grateful for that. Okay, your fondest memories of living in the Bay Area during the age of Aquarius and great music. She doesn't even know the age of Aquarius.
Well, there were so many things to do. We lived in a wonderful neighborhood, and just raising the kids I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. And we were given a lot of freedom back then, kids in general.
Yeah,
I mean,
there
it
weren't
was...
so many things to be worried about.
No, we had dirt bikes and horses, and we would just take off
Yeah.
during the day and come back when we felt like it or we were
Yeah.
hungry.
And neighbors looked after each other and their kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, here's an interesting one. What is your favorite invention during your lifetime?
Oh, wow. I was going to say TV, but that's not my favorite thing to do anyway. So, aerobatic airplanes.
Was that really an invention in your lifetime, though?
No,
Aerobatics?
I guess
Yeah,
not.
I mean, I think they were doing wing walking and whatnot
Yeah.
earlier than that.
So, let's see. I can't think of what else.
And she brings that up because my father used to be a pilot. He had his license revoked, and here I end up marrying a pilot. But he had his license revoked for just a lot of bad stuff under the certain limits, and bad landings and crash landings,
Yeah.
and landing at what was it, Moffett Field in the middle of the night as an emergency, and it was just one thing after another.
He knew how to have fun.
He knew how to have fun, and so anyway, a lot of our friends were pilots, and one of them had an aerobatics team, airplanes. It was maybe some of you flying buffs would know the Christian Eagles. Well, my father and Frank were good friends, and so they would come and perform if my dad asked them to, where they lived when you guys moved up to Bernie. And so you went up and
Had a
did.
wonderful flight all over
Yeah.
the area.
Yeah. I remember Dad taking us up and doing aerobatics. And I remember you were pregnant with Ben, so you didn't come up. And just those barrel rolls and stalls, and, that was
I
fun.
remember flying over the Golden Gate Bridge. That was so beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. What has it been like watching technology develop?
Well, of course, it's very interesting, but I'm not up on all the latest technology by any means. So I'm sort of
Stuck in the 70s?
a fish out of water.
I remember one time I asked my mom, I think it was on our garden video, hey, Mom, do you know what YouTube is? And do you remember what you said?
No,
She said, I know what it is, and it's a website, and I don't go there.
I thought it would. I would have said something like an inner tube.
YouTube, yeah, yeah. Okay. What is the strongest memory you have of your father?
I guess some vague memories of when he was a jockey, but I was very little and didn't see all that much of that part of his life. But when I go to the racetrack, it was exciting.
Yeah, because he was a very winning jockey. And he rode with the likes of Red Pollard and all the jockeys of the 30s and 40s before the war.
Yeah.
And then when the war came, they, got those little guys to be tail gunners for the
Yeah.
most part because they're little, and so they could fit into those cramped quarters.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and then when he came back from the war, do you remember what that was like?
Yeah, I remember some of it, but I remember he had this big piece of shrapnel that had got him in the leg when he was in the tail gunner bubble, and I remember seeing that. It was about the size of, it was big, and I remember they took it out of his leg. I don't know whatever happened to it.
Maybe it's in a jewelry box or something.
No, I don't have it.
Oh, you don't have it? Then it's gone.
I think
Yeah.
someone else got it.
Probably threw it out like, what's this junk? Maybe your brother did.
I bet my brother.
Okay. What was your favorite decade?
My favorite what?
Decade.
The 60s.
The 60s. And why?
Well, Dad and I met and married and had all kinds of adventures and started raising children.
Yeah, you met before the 60s because that's when you got married and
Yeah.
and my older brother was born. So anyway, yeah.
And a lot of good memories.
So all the family things.
Yeah.
Young family. Yeah. Okay. What fashion sense did you have when you were in your 20s?
Not much. we were pretty casual. That was an age when, if you had a special event, you dressed up. But most of the time, it was pretty casual.
Except for work, where you had to wear
Oh,
a
that was
dress.
different. When I was a teacher, you had to wear dresses or skirts, no pants.
And pantyhose, always, right?
Yes.
Nylons.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And I remember I'd be sitting there, and the little kids would be sitting on the floor next to me, rubbing my leg because they liked the feel of the pantyhose.
Oh, how cute. Now, were they pantyhose or were they nylons with the...
Pantyhose.
You had pantyhose
Yeah.
back then. Okay. Because I know they used to have those, what do they call those? Garter belts.
Yeah.
Yeah, garter belts. Okay. What can you do now that you wish was available when you were younger?
What? Say that one more time.
What can you do now that you wish was available when you were younger?
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, so much has changed. Just going to events that, I think it was easier then than it is now. You don't have to plan ahead so far in advance.
Okay, so spontaneity was easier then?
yeah.
That's interesting. I never would have thought about that. Okay. Do you have a favorite childhood memory?
Oh gosh, so many. When I went to live with my aunt, my cousin and I were 6 months apart. We had so many fun times together. We would plan robberies in the house. We'd decide, let's go steal the silverware and hide it till somebody misses it.
Never heard this. So who would do the stealing, you or your cousin?
Mostly me.
So that's where I got my thievery from. When I was a kid, I tried my hand at stealing, remember? What was the first thing I ever stole?
Oh my gosh. What?
Blackjack gum.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we turned around and went back
Now,
to this.
I came home and you asked, how'd you get that gum?
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I said, I lied and said I turned in some glass bottles and you knew.
Yeah. And then we drove
And then
to
she
the
dragged
store,
me into the car.
made you go in and apologize and give it back.
Okay, and then what was the second thing I stole? Because I don't learn quickly. Okay, and I'll give you a hint. I was with Dad.
What was it? You got to tell me.
I was in the back seat. We went to James Lick Market.
And it was something to eat.
No,
No?
I was unwrapping it. It was a Gumby.
Oh,
A Gumby
yeah.
doll.
I think we had
And
to go back on that one.
Dad took me back on that one because I had asked him, can I buy this? And he said no.
Dad said no.
Dad said no. And clearly I should have had it. So I just, I overrode it. Overrode his decision. And being the dumb thief I was, instead of sitting back in the front seat on the way home, I got in the back seat.
Yeah,
because
he wouldn't notice.
Because he wouldn't notice. And I'm opening this cellophane package.
And it crinkled and
And he looks in the mirror. It's
Yeah.
like, okay. Turns around, takes me back. I have to turn it in and apologize. And
yep.
so, but at least you kept your thieving to inside the house. Now, do you remember when when they would miss it and say, hey, where's the silverware? Or
I don't remember anything other than planning the heist.
I remember once Brian and I, my older brother and I, we planned to rob the Bank of America on McKee and Toyon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were, oh man.
You had big dreams.
We had big dreams, so never came to pass. Okay, but now I know where I got it. Okay, this is an interesting one. So, you first met Clint Eastwood. So it says, tell us about Clint Eastwood. Now, when you first met him, were you starstruck or were you just normal?
Not really. We became friends with his editor.
Yeah.
And then
His
I
film
used to
editor.
go horseback riding on his Clint's property.
Right.
And he would not allow any
I know.
kids there, even his own son. But because of the film editor, he let me ride on his property, and it was beautiful.
You weren't a kid, you were an adult.
Right.
I had already moved out.
Yeah.
So I remember one time you had him and Sandra over for dinner, and I knew he was coming. And I was in San Jose and you were up in Bernie. And I remember calling and talking to you on the phone. Mom, is he there? Yeah, yeah. And I could hear him. Walk closer to him. I want to hear his voice. And my mom's, Jeannie, I've got to go. It's like, Jeannie, stop it. And I'm, it's like Clint Eastwood's at my mom and dad's house. And
He had a great sense of humor.
yeah.
He laughed. He played the piano for us. The piano we still have. Well, you have now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So you guys have some good memories. And,
Yeah.
and he collected stuff from Dad, my dad's artwork. Okay. All right. What is your most favorite place you've traveled to?
Well, I think Germany for sure is right up there.
Yeah.
And Ireland.
And Ireland. Okay. Because we come from the Irish, and as I've said before, her dad was short, her mom was short, and her grandmother was short.
A lot of leprechauns in the background.
We go back to leprechauns to what, 12 inches maybe? Okay, so Ireland and Germany. And where'd I go? Where would you recommend everyone go if they could?
Oh, gosh. Germany's got to be up there. It's so beautiful. The food's just wonderful.
We're schnitzel fiends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good everywhere you travel in Germany.
And Croatia was cool too. I really liked Croatia and Slovenia.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
That was beautiful. Oh, I had no idea how beautiful Slovenia is. Do you remember the fruits there? They're so beautiful. It was like Technicolor in life. It was just gorgeous. Okay. Okay, somebody said, and this is quote unquote, ask this beautiful grandma, what is your secret to raising a beautiful, smart, intelligent, kind daughter like me?
Let her have her way.
Oh, they forgot modest.
Right. No, you were a good girl. You really were. You had a few pranks here and there, but mostly
Yeah.
nothing bad. Nothing bad.
Nothing, well, anything bad she doesn't know.
You kept it a well-kept secret.
Okay, it says, what is the worst thing Jeannie did as a kid?
Oh, gosh. Well, other than stealing from the 7-Eleven,
Gumby and
let's see.
the gum, yeah.
You would make Brian, sorry if he ticked you off. You had your ways.
But you know what? He was so gentle and sweet and
Yes.
loving.
He really was.
If he got ticked off at me, it was because I caused it. You know?
yeah.
He would be just peacefully watching TV, and I'd walk by and I'd bap him on the back of the head just to get a reaction out of him. And then if he, hauled off and socked me, he got in trouble.
Yeah.
So, score one for
I
Jeannie.
remember one time I made him stand in the corner. It was something between you two. I can't remember what you did that pushed him over the edge.
I existed. No, my brother and I were best friends as we became teenagers.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had the same friends, the same
Yeah.
little gang. We
A
went
nice group of kids.
Nice group of
I
kids.
loved that they all hung out at our house.
Yeah, out in Brian's room.
Yep.
And okay, so what are some of the things we did on a Friday or Saturday night, us group of kids? What did we do?
You guys would just go driving around.
Cruising.
Yeah, cruising
Yeah.
and pick up other kids and hop in other cars.
Yeah.
If I knew some of the stuff you did,
No,
I
but
would
see,
have been
but everybody did that. It
Yeah.
was okay, and it was
right.
safe.
I didn't really have to worry.
No one ever ended up missing. It was just a
And there were
normal
no
thing.
drugs or the worst thing would have been a cigarette, you know. And I don't know if you even did that. With Dad smoking, you probably had enough of that
You know,
still.
I tried to be a smoker. I think I tried one of the girls', our girlfriends'
Yeah.
cigarettes, and I couldn't do it. I tried, and who was it? You know who? She smoked
Yeah.
Marlboros, and I had to try a Marlboro, and it was just like it made me sick. It made me
tried
green.
smoking once, and I took 1 or 2 puffs, and I just felt like I was strangling. That was it.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
again.
And yet, here, my dad, we grew up with a smoker.
Yeah.
When he would come in and read us stories or sing us songs at night, he's smoking
Smoking
away
every
and
minute, yep.
blowing smoke. And I love it. I wouldn't trade a thing, I loved it. Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad smell. According to some people, it is.
Well, it
but
depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
So, okay. Has the world changed for better or for worse? That's such a big
it's
question.
huge, and there's so many things on each side to consider. Technology has made lives easier and more comfortable, but as far as the wars and stuff, things got pretty ugly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What is the most historical event in your life, or, whether it was historical or political? What stands out for you?
I think when Kennedy got shot,
Yeah.
it was such a shock to the world.
Yeah. And I was little, so I don't remember. Brian might have. He was older. But yeah, that was. So do you remember where you were?
Maybe I was teaching.
And what, somebody would have come in and told you, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Most fulfilling thing you've ever done, besides having me?
Actually, raising children is the top of the list.
Okay.
Teaching was right up there too. I loved it. And traveling. Dad and I took so many wonderful trips. Learned about the cultures and the food. So,
Okay. Favorite song of all time?
oh my gosh. Johnny Cash. Sunday morning coming round.
Okay. I thought it was Patsy Cline.
Well, that was beautiful. Oh, that was a good one. Walking after midnight. I still love it.
Yeah. I go out walking after midnight, out in the moonlight, just hoping you will be somewhere a-walking after midnight, searching for me. Okay, how did the war impact your family?
Oh, hugely. My dad had to go in the service, of course, so he was gone, and we were on a very tight budget because of that. So we lived very frugally, and Aunt Lulie would take me school shopping every year, buy some school clothes.
She took me school shopping too. My aunt was like a grandma to me because I didn't have her mom. But
she was great.
Yeah, she was. She was a lot of fun. Do you remember when you were little, you told me once that you remember the dark curtains, the blackout?
Oh, yes. We thought it was so much fun. We had no idea danger was involved. We would play hide and seek in the house and giggle and run around like idiots.
Okay. Do you remember your father coming home from the war?
Not the exact date, but yeah, I was excited to see him, of course. But I was probably closer to my uncle.
Yeah, because he was there for you during your formative years. Yeah, like 7 years. Or yeah. Okay. Do you remember your first television set? Or did you always have one?
Television what?
Set. TV set.
Oh, I remember it very well. It was a little bitty thing. Hi, Margo. It was probably this big.
For the whole family?
Yeah,
Black and white?
black and white only.
Okay. How did you stay optimistic during hard times?
Well, when you have a family, you have a lot to be grateful for and a lot of things to enjoy. So material possessions are not up there on the top of the list.
And this, I don't know why I laugh. We've been through a lot of hard times.
Yeah.
She's lost both her sons, both my brothers, my dad, but that was natural. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't an accident. My son, Adam, we lost Adam. And then lots of accidents that
Accident prone.
she is so accident prone. No, but not usually by your own hand. It was always other people.
Somebody else did it.
She was accidentally shot. We won't go into details. She was accidentally shot. She's lost like parts of her lung and ribs. Let's see, she got run over in Spain, Barcelona.
Yeah, I stepped off the curb to cross the
Yep.
street and a car came around the corner.
And then let's see, when you were pregnant with one of us in the boat off Santa
Oh,
Cruz,
yeah.
she fell out. Whoops, come here, Margo. She fell out, a wave capsized the boat, and she can't.
Boat went flipping, and I had no life jacket and didn't know how to swim. Always be prepared.
Right. And yeah, it just, just stuff was always happening,
Yeah.
just. So I think what we learned was the boring times are to be appreciated because the pendulum can swing,
Yeah. Absolutely.
You think you need a bat. Look, Margo's in the video. She said, oh, how precious. Okay, what games did you play in school?
Oh my gosh, simple things: hopscotch, jump rope, the equipment, swings and slides.
Did you play jacks?
Yes, a lot.
What about that? What was the things? Remember we used to do the stuff between the fingers, cat's cradle? No. What was that? You remember? And we would. Maybe that was me when I was a kid. You'd have the string.
Yeah.
And you'd
what do you call
make things.
Cradle, something.
Cat's cradle?
I think so. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. Who were the influences in your life after you lost your mom?
Well, my aunt and uncle, because they took me in and they were just wonderful.
Yeah.
And my cousin and I were so close. We did so many things together. We would go to the different fairs and show animals. And
What kind of animals did
I
you
raised a steer a couple of years.
What did he raise? A steer also?
steer, yeah.
Okay. Did you continue to keep a relationship with your dad after you went to live with your aunt?
Yes, on and off, because he was not around very much.
Yeah.
Seemed like my whole life he wasn't around very much.
Yeah. Being on a racing circuit
Yeah.
to start with. I mean, I have his racing licenses, and he's everywhere from up in British Columbia down to Mexico, the whole Western circuit for the most part. Mm-hmm. So he was never home. How could he be? Okay. Okay. Well, this is interesting. How did living with your aunt affect you during those times when things were different, when there was no counseling or anyone you kind of just had to pick up and move on? How did you cope? And how do you feel that affected you? Maybe not having the mom figure to turn to.
Well, because it was such an accepting environment, I was not devastated. My mom and I were really close, but when I lived with my aunt and uncle, that was very close too, and I enjoyed it. And my cousin made a big difference because we did all kinds of things together.
Right. And you were closer to him than you were your own
Oh,
brother.
much closer. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh, so speaking of your brother, how do you think that affected him?
Well, I'm sure it did, but we didn't really talk a lot. He was 4 years older, and I was the pesty little sister.
Yeah.
And he wanted to just go do his
Yeah.
thing.
If you're 12, he's 16,
Yeah.
and that's a huge
Yeah.
gap. Yeah. Okay. What is your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
And what was your most memorable holiday?
Most memorable what?
Holiday.
Holiday?
What is there a one that jumps out?
Okay.
Sorry. That jumps out.
Easter was always fun. I'd get a new dress and an Easter basket.
And a bonnet. I
Yeah.
remember the bonnets. And we even had gloves. Do you remember those white gloves
Oh,
we would
yeah.
wear to church? Yeah.
Right, every Sunday we had to wear gloves and dresses. And I remember my aunt, I didn't want to wear nylons and little heels. My aunt said, "You're not a little kid anymore. You're a young lady, and this is how you go to church."
Do you remember what church you went to?
A Catholic church.
I mean, do you remember which one?
I think it was St. Patrick's.
St. Patrick's in Hayward?
Yeah. Or was it? Yeah, Hayward.
Okay. All right. What was important to you at 30 that you realize isn't important at all
Oh, gosh.
now?
A lot of things, but let's see. Just knowing now that friendships are the most important thing, not what kind of a grade you got in math or what you wore to a certain occasion. That's not important.
So when you yelled at me for bad grades, are you taking that all back? No.
Okay.
I never got yelled at for bad grades, right?
You never
No,
had bad
I know.
grades.
That's right. Actually, I think I did get a bad grade once, but in high school in I don't know, algebra or something, and I think it was because I was cutting class.
Yeah, you went to the beach.
We would go to the beach. We'd
Yeah.
head over to the beach to Santa
Right.
Cruz. Yeah. It's like, why wouldn't you? I mean, there it is. It's a beautiful
Yeah,
day.
why be in a schoolroom?
Why would you want to do algebra on a beautiful day when you could go to the beach?
And the principal was a friend of ours, so
Yeah. So
that changed things a little bit.
are you saying I took license? Yeah, it's true because we got caught, me and my friend.
Yeah,
She got in trouble and I didn't, but I had to tell you guys about it. That
Yeah.
was my punishment. Go home and tell your parents.
Yeah.
So I did. And I remember this was so not fair. She got Saturday schools, detention, and her parents got called. And I didn't know because they separated us,
yeah,
and so
right.
she went in and I remember just tell the truth, just tell the truth. Just say what we did, where we went, It's the worst they can do, rip out your fingernails. And I don't know why she had the book thrown at her.
that's life. It's who you know.
It's who you know. Oh, good. That's true because I remember walking down the halls and saying hi to teachers by their first names. It's like I almost didn't know their last name because they would be at our house
Yeah,
sometimes.
right.
Everyone knew my dad and
The superintendent of schools would
everyone did.
come by.
I'd be, hey, Walt, hey,
Yeah.
Yeah. And other kids would look at me like, why is she calling that teacher by his first name?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. What were some of the silliest antics of your kids?
Most serious?
Silliest.
Oh,
Silliest
silliest.
antics. Oh my gosh, I think of lots. What comes to you? What memories come to you as the silliest things?
Oh gosh, you guys got up to a lot of hijinks, but nothing really bad.
Okay, I'll see if you remember this. Do you remember the time Brian and I, it was bedtime, and we were giggling, and you gave us a warning, get to bed, and we kept trying to make you mad, and we concocted this plan that we would get her so mad with all our laughing and giggling that she would come and use a wooden spoon on. She never beat us, but she would use the wooden spoon.
Or I'd threaten you with it.
Yeah, or shake the drawer. That was the scariest
Yeah, if
part.
I headed to the door,
The drawer, the wooden spoon drawer. And do you remember where it was to the left of the sink?
Yep.
So anyway, we decided we would get her super mad, like mad as a hornet. And so we stuffed Brian's bed full of stuffed
yes.
animals and covered it with the blankets. And so we laughed and laughed and laughed and giggled and just got her furious.
And I came down the hall with a wooden
she would
spoon.
come and threaten, and then we'd be like real quiet. And then she'd walk away, not even knowing that it was stuffed
Just
animals.
stuffed
And
animals.
if I come back again, you're going to get a spanking.
And I walked by the...
Then she came back,
And
and
I
she
went,
starts
whack, whack, whack.
and it's thud, 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 and then we start cracking up. We were under the bed.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that was
And then
funny.
I started laughing.
It
We
was
were all
funny,
in-
yeah.
Just cracked up.
And then Ben was one who used to set traps. Remember, these really convoluted traps. If somebody would come in through our gate on the side of the house, a sledgehammer would come falling down, or a bucket of something, and he would always get hurt from doing these. I mean, like
He was not good at what he did.
No, he was always ending up in the ER with stitches because he always was getting hurt from his own contraptions. Oh my gosh, do you remember that? I mean,
Some of it.
It's like Ben always had a Band-Aid or a plaster on some part of his face from stitches from his own, things. And he also collected black widows in the jars.
Oh my gosh. And then how'd they get loose one night?
I don't know. One night, he had this jar on his nightstand full of black widows. Sick kid.
My only fear.
Mine too.
spiders.
Mine was even worse. And somehow in the night, something woke him up, like crawling or, tickling him. And he looked, and somehow the jar had gotten knocked over, the lid got knocked off, and the freaking black widows are in his bed.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Oh, I do.
Oh my God. I remember screaming and yelling and calling him every name in the book, how insane he was collecting black widows. And then it was like, did we even get them all?
That's it.
Yeah.
How would you know?
That was awful. Just awful. Okay. Wrapping this up. Do you have any regrets?
Yes, I think I probably would have had more patience if I'd have thought about it.
I think that is probably one of the biggest things for me too. Looking back, you think, but when you're younger and you've got a whole bunch of kids and
you're busy.
You're busy and they're driving you crazy, and one is antagonizing her brothers.
Yeah, right.
You lose it. I mean, not bad, but
all in all,
in all.
you were good kids. You really were.
yeah. Like I said, most of the bad things we did, you never saw.
I don't even want to hear about it.
Okay, like what did I do about my curfew? What time was my curfew?
10.
No.
11?
You upped it to 11.
Oh,
and
it was 10 for a long time.
And then you upped it to 11. And did I fight you on that?
Well, sure you did.
And then what did I do to go around it?
You crawled out your window
I came home by 11.
and then go out the window.
You never said I couldn't go back out. Right?
Right.
Okay. I remember I'd go in, hi, Mom and Dad, yeah, you know. And I know they were wondering, where'd the fight go? Why isn't she arguing? Because my brother was down the street waiting for me.
Yeah.
Brian was down there, or one of my friends waiting for me to sneak out the window and head back out.
Yeah, because it was so convenient. It was your bedroom window was right on the front porch.
Yeah.
And it was,
It was a big window.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd have done the same thing.
Yeah, sure you would have. Okay, and what do you want to be remembered for?
What a wonderful mother I was.
Okay, well, that goes without saying, and you will be.
Thank you.
will.
Thank you.
You were a good mom. I remember a couple of times you've said things like, oh, you wish you were more, I don't know, affectionate or something. It's like, I have no memory of you not being affectionate.
Oh, good. Because Aunt Luli was wonderful, but she never demonstrated it physically. She never hugged or kissed. So I
Yeah.
didn't,
That was an era.
it wasn't, up front.
Yeah, I remember kindergarten was no problem for me going to school, and it was only half days.
Yeah.
And then first grade, it was the first year I was gone all day, and I loved school. And I just remembered how, fun. I loved school. I loved learning. I loved recesses and games. And I remember one time thinking, my mom's home alone.
I remember you telling me that you used to feel bad.
I used to feel so bad that she was home alone without us kids.
Yay!
So I would fake stomach aches. It's like, okay, I've got to fix this because I'm the fixer in the family, right? I was always the fixer. I mean, especially as I was older, taking like dad, taking care of things. And so I thought, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fake a stomach ache and miss a day of school to stay home with her, keep her entertained. And so I would. And I remember you kept taking me to the doctor it's like, she keeps having these stomach aches. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, we got to go to the doctor again. It's like,
Right.
but I kept you entertained, you see? I thought she missed me.
I did miss you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, she's sick again.
All of 5 minutes. Right?
Okay, so that is it. That is an interview with Gigi, Grandma Donna, my mom, and answering your questions. These were great questions. So
All right. Well, this was a fun interview.
say hello and goodbye to my community. It's
Bye-bye. Nice having you here.
right here. Okay,
Okie doke.
see you next time.